Back then, I would have told you this story from the pretty side. I'd say that I traveled the world, lived a life most people dream of, and built a company by staying driven. But the truth is that I fell apart. Behind the scenes, I was collapsing, breaking, and sinking into a darkness I had never known. I'm done playing a character, so this will be the unfiltered version I never had the courage to share. It's the story of how I put myself through years of pain and sacrifice in the pursuit of being enough, only to find my worth in the last place I ever expected. As children, we believe that anything is possible. Nothing seems out of reach, and no dream is too big to chase. But as we grow up, we're told to stay realistic, play it safe, and fit in with the rest. We learn to kill our dreams and limit our potential. Since a young age, I refused to accept these lies and made it my mission to help people break free from doubts, remember their passion, and build a life without limits. But the funny thing is that we only believe it when we see it. That's why I documented my story on YouTube, to show that with enough faith and persistence, dreams actually turn into reality. From the kid with a camcorder to the filmmaker with millions of views, from the guy who felt stuck in his hometown to the entrepreneur living abroad, and from the average runner to the athlete completing a marathon.
There it is, guys. There it is.
Those videos inspired millions of people to take action in their own lives, and it brought me more fulfillment and freedom than I ever imagined. But still, I felt like it was always about me. I knew that if I really wanted to make a difference, I had to equip others with the right tools to tell their own stories. And the only way to do that was by sharing the gift I was given. I've been obsessed with storytelling and filmmaking since I was 12, but I was always frustrated with how poorly those skills were taught, whether at film schools, media programs, online courses, or YouTube tutorials. So after 13 years of learning everything myself, I felt called to create the education I wish I had when I was younger. But as I soon realized, this wouldn't be easy. For months, I kept asking myself whether I should stay a solo creator and enjoy the life I had built, or whether I should hire a team and build something bigger than myself. Some part of me believed that if I could just bring this vision to life, it might finally fill the void I'd carried for as long as I could remember. So even though I was afraid, I followed that spark. I moved to Bali, hired my first team members Patrick and Jack, moved with them into a villa, and committed to building an online course that teaches all steps of the filmmaking process through the lens of storytelling.
This is going to be the part where everything is going to happen when it comes to the online course. So, this is what the setup looks like. I think it is very clean.
It truly felt like a startup. We came up with a logo and a name, Patrick edited the videos, Jack created the animations, and I scripted the lessons.
I am very, very deep into scripting. I have honestly never scripted that much in my whole life.
Turning years of experience into clear explanations sparked a flood of new insights that deepened my love for the craft. Only a few lessons in, I began to grasp just how powerful the skills I was teaching actually are. Storytelling turns ideas into something people can feel, remember, and relate to, and filmmaking taps into our strongest senses to pull viewers into a different reality. Combined, they truly felt like a superpower that I wanted to share with the world.
In this lesson, I want to dive into one of the most interesting aspects of storytelling. Every good story starts with a problem. We forget facts, but we remember stories.
As I realized, recording the lessons and reading thousands of words from my teleprompter took far longer than I expected.
I was sitting here for like 4 hours.
Also, I discovered that shooting in a villa in Bali came with its own set of challenges.
I'm not sure if you hear that, but the neighbor's son is playing his fucking drums. We have two different... What is this? You need... Bro, those geckos are trying to fuck me up.
Going into the project, I thought we could finish it in 3 to 6 months, but as I soon realized, this was a fantasy. Scripting and shooting took far longer than expected, I had to build new systems and workflows, and I had to lead a team for the first time in my life. I struggled to communicate my vision, and no one seemed to meet my high standards. With each week, the pressure kept building until one night I lost my focus. A serious motorbike accident left me with a broken ankle and wrist, but instead of slowing down, I pushed through the pain and kept scripting already on the next day. Looking back, I wasn't taking care of myself, I was trying to prove myself. Since I was young, I compared myself to my brother. He went to an elite university and gained the recognition and success, while I had the naive dream to become a filmmaker. To prove everybody wrong, I worked harder than anyone until my videos finally took off. The world applauded, my dad was proud, and for a moment, I felt like I was enough. However, from this point on, I told myself I had to be perfect to be worthy of love. So when the first 6 months of the project had failed, the only answer I knew was to push harder and become a warrior. And I marked that commitment on my skin. After Bali, I moved to Medellin in Colombia for a fresh start. I reunited with my friends and we explored new sides of Colombia every other weekend. I got back to flying FPV drones, we immersed ourselves in the culture, and we went to our first reggaeton concert, which was wild. But while this balanced lifestyle lasted for a few weeks, the project soon became my only focus. We had finished 3 out of 9 modules, but the problem was that the scope of the project was increasing with each one. The more I discovered and learned how to teach, the bigger my vision became and the more people I hired.
I want you to join the team, man.
Yep, that's Robbie. I realized that unlike software, video lessons can't just be updated, as every change meant re-scripting, reshooting, and re-editing everything from scratch. This made me feel like I had to get it right on the first try, which made me chase perfection. More intentional structures, stronger frameworks, clearer explanations, richer B-roll, and more advanced animations. What started as an online course slowly evolved into a full-fledged film academy. But as I'd soon learn, my relentless strive for perfection would cost me almost everything. While before I always lived with other people, I now got my own place and fully isolated myself to keep up with my increasing responsibilities. No weekends, no free time, no joy. I became harder and harder on myself and spent weeks scripting late into the night. I was experiencing the same day for months at a time, and it felt like I was stuck in a never-ending cycle. I slowly began to realize how much my life had changed since leaving YouTube. I used to create fulfilling videos about my life every week. Now, I spend months scripting rigid lessons and reading them off a teleprompter. Back then, I enjoyed the freedom of only having to look after myself. Now, I was managing a team of 4 while struggling to stay focused on my own work. I used to earn a solid income from sponsors and my online shop, but now I was burning through savings, losing thousands each month. And instead of heartfelt comments and messages, I felt pressure and doubts creeping in from all sides. That's when it hit me. I had already lived my dream, but then completely abandoned it. A deep sadness started to surface, but like always, I pushed it down, telling myself I was a warrior. I didn't know it back then, but my childhood left deep scars in how I handled emotions. My parents divorced when I was 12, my mother dealt with several illnesses, and like so many kids, I never had a real emotional connection with my father. On the surface, everything seemed fine, but deep down, I always felt ashamed of my sensitivity and afraid of being a burden to my parents. So from a young age, I locked everything inside. I stopped crying, put on a stone face, and pretended everything was fine. Over time, that mask hardened to a point where in Bali, I didn't even tell my family about my motorbike accident for a full month. Suppressing my emotions felt like it gave me the strength and stability I needed to lead my team. But the more I buried, the louder the voice became.
What happened to you, huh? I thought you were a warrior, not some sentimental little bitch. You're not crying because you know it's pathetic. So quit the self-pity and finish the damn project.
Ironically, when my parents split, my dad bought me my first video camera and filmmaking became my secret outlet. A way to process the emotions I couldn't share. At first, it was subtle, but as I got older, I began to see my life like a movie. I learned to express my feelings through visuals and sound, and it became the only way I knew how to make sense of what I felt. When I started this project, the darker part of me made a pact. No more videos until the academy was done. But as I realized in Colombia, cutting off my creative outlet only made things worse. Because now, instead of turning my emotions into art, I began to ignore them completely.
Feel like making a video? Spare me that emotional bullshit. You're not here to feel, you're here to deliver. Nobody gives a fuck about your face on YouTube until you've earned it. So shut up, lock in, and get it done.
The dark voice started to run my life. It whipped me from one lesson to the next without ever granting me a moment of rest.
Lesson 5.6 main cameras. Lesson 5.7, 5.8, 5.10, 5.11, 12, 14, 15.
I was shooting for more than 10 hours per day, but it felt like no take was ever good enough.
One more. I'll do one more alternative. I'll do one more. One more time. I'll do one more. One more. The camera is... You can... Oh, come on, fucking teleprompter.
I disconnected more and more from myself, and without even noticing, the shadow inside me slowly consumed my entire being.
I can't fucking say that last word. What a sentence. Well done scripting, Niklas. Which made fucking fuck you, fuck you, fuck!
My team and I were working harder than ever, but still, it felt like we weren't getting anywhere as the finish line kept moving further away. The stress impacted my sleep, the sleep impacted my work, and the work impacted my stress. I kept spiraling down this cycle until one day I had nothing left and my body gave in.
I think the best way to describe this whole situation is you set yourself a goal, you look to the top of the mountain, and as soon as you start climbing the mountain, you usually get closer to the top and you see the goal that you're going to reach. But with this project, it simply just feels like the mountain becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. I'm having actual doubts if I'm able to pull this off. Yeah, that's basically it.
I had fully burned myself out. You can't make this up, but during that time, I designed a tattoo with a YouTube subscriber that showed myself going up in flames. It captured exactly how I felt, but thankfully, I never went through with it. Instead, I decided to take care of my health by talking with a psychotherapist, changing my diet, and sleeping a lot. This allowed me to regain some of my lost energy and gave me a spark of hope for the next chapter. Valencia in Spain.
This is the 4th country within the creation of my online course, and yeah, I'm excited what's going to happen here.
New country, fresh start. My mum and my brother, who had just returned from his travels, came to visit, which made my lack of sunlight very apparent. A few weeks later, Patrick and my business partner Ali flew out as well. After months of isolation, it felt deeply fulfilling to reconnect in person and work side by side. During that time, we truly bonded as a team, and after carrying so much of the weight alone, I could finally feel that they had my back. At this point, we were already more than a year into the project and had completed 5 out of 9 modules. But still, no one outside our team had seen a single lesson. So to finally get some real-world feedback, we launched a beta tester program.
We are looking for 100 people who are going to beta test these modules in order to provide us more feedback that we can implement for the upcoming modules in order to make this the best course possible.
When the feedback rolled in, the stakes couldn't have been higher, because their response would decide if we were building something truly great or if the last year of sacrifice and pain had been for nothing. They loved it. Everyone was blown away by the learning experience, and people couldn't believe what we were building. This gave the whole team a massive boost in motivation, and seeing the faces behind those comments made it even more rewarding.
Crazy to see all the people who provided feedback. Honestly, I've just been absolutely overwhelmed by the feedback we've received so far. We've been working on this project for 1.5 years now, so we're now 6 people, which is honestly fucking crazy for me.
Everything that you don't see is probably what I do in the background.
I'm really grateful to be a part of this, and it's really lovely to meet all of you. I can see a few familiar faces.
The course is all about the theory, and the community is all about the practice. It's not even a course anymore, it's more like an academy, and our goal as a team is to just basically make film schools obsolete. I feel like the way we teach things is just going to be so much more efficient and so much easier to understand. All I can say is just thank you, and I can't wait to help you guys get to where you want to go when it comes to storytelling and filmmaking.
You guys rock.
Agents.
Bye.
Ciao, guys.
I had regained hope to keep pushing forward, and the tattoo of me going up in flames had somehow turned into a light in my chest that was ready to break through. The hardest part about building the academy was that each module was completely different, and the shooting module was among the toughest of them all. First, I needed tons of specific footage to support what I was teaching. Second, some of the lessons had to be taught live on camera to demonstrate the practical insights. And third, I wanted to take students behind the scenes of 3 very different shoots, because filming a staged video is nothing like capturing a documentary or portraying a solo experience. Once again, the vision, team, and timeline expanded. I spent weeks pre-producing my most ambitious shoot yet. 10 days, 25 locations, and a crew of up to 5 people. I flew out a cinematographer and an assistant, and we rented extra gear to make it work. In the first few days, we shot all kinds of B-roll for the scripted lessons, and whenever I needed a subject, my friends Gabriel and Max stepped in as actors. It was my first time working with Felix, but we quickly found our rhythm and managed to capture incredible footage despite the tight schedule. However, over time, the pressure started to increase. We often filmed for more than 12 hours a day, and it was already overwhelming to juggle between being the producer, director, and cinematographer all at once. But when the live lessons began, it got even harder. On top of everything else, I now had to create 3 high-quality videos in just 3 days. And for the lighting lessons, I had to recall endless explanations while demonstrating everything on set. The stress kept building, the crew started to fall out of sync, and everything became chaotic. To make matters worse, the main character of my documentary cancelled due to an injury, and it started pouring rain almost every day. So I was left with no choice but to cancel the shoot and postpone the rest. The delays, responsibilities, and increasing financial pressure became suffocating. I was burning through $20,000 a month, and most of my passive income had completely tanked. On top of the pressure, it rained into my apartment and I got sick every other week. All I wanted was to quit. But I couldn't. I'd invested years of my life, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and quitting felt like proof that I was a failure. I had built myself a prison I couldn't escape. Some part of me wanted to share my struggles with my dad, but another part was terrified to drop the mask of perfection. I used vices to numb the unbearable pain, but soon I sank into a deep depression and completely forgot who I was.
Nice job, genius. Blew the chute, spending 20 grand a month just to prove you're a failure at scale. And for what? Some naive dream that your little academy would change anything? Wake up. People don't want change. Don't think about it, just do it. This world is rotten to its core, and so are you. You've always been worthless, and you'd do everyone a favor if you were gone.
It began with dreams. However, over time, the thoughts of ending it all became more and more real. I was haunted by my shadow, and when looking for answers online, I found the same advice I had always known.
You know, in the beginning, you're like, I feel bad, and then you think that that should weigh on the decision of whether you do the thing that you're supposed to do. And then you start realizing that you can do the thing even though you don't feel good about it. And you start hypertrophying it. But I think the ultimate version of the hypertrophy is when you don't even consider how you feel. It's just not a thought. You just do it.
So I did it. I continued to bury my emotions and kept working like a maniac. I had no strength to leave my bed, yet I forced myself to read lines from the teleprompter for over 12 hours a day. Even though I was in the worst state of my life, I still moved forward with the second shoot. To my own disbelief, I could still suppress everything long enough to perform for the life lessons, pretending it was all fine. But one night, the rain returned, and with it, the darkness. I couldn't outrun my own shadow anymore, so I was finally ready to give in. But in that moment of absolute despair, something inside me cracked open. After the last day of the shoot, I couldn't hold it in anymore, and years of suppressed emotions started to surface.
For the last 3 days, I've been like crying 1 hour per day, because there's just so much bottled up in me, and I just feel like everything needs to come out of me. The more I just like let go, the more weight is just lifted off my shoulders, and the more I feel myself again. I hope that it gets better from here.
After weeks of crying, the dark voice finally went quiet, and in that silence, I realized that all answers I was searching for were always within me, waiting for me to listen. Over the next months, I slowed down and turned inward. I allowed myself to rest whenever I needed it, and for the first time, I didn't tie my worth to how much I got done. Slowly, the wounded child in me began to feel seen. The more I let go, the lighter I became, and the more color came back into my life. It finally felt like I could breathe again. After years of hiding the truth, I finally opened up to my mother and brother. For the first time, I allowed them to see the weight I'd been carrying, and their loving presence helped me regain my hope for life. That Christmas, surrounded by warmth and laughter, I felt something I hadn't in a long time. Safety. I didn't have to perform, I didn't have to pretend, and I could simply be a kid again. Loved not for what I showed to the world, but for who I really was.
Nee, das ist ein Video.
For the next weeks, I returned to my old apartment in Munich for the first time since I had left Germany more than 3 years ago.
This is gonna be interesting.
This was the place where I had started my journey on YouTube, and to be honest, it brought back a lot of memories.
It still works.
Even though the previous months had taken a toll on me, I stayed committed to the academy and continued to progress the lessons. But eventually, I came to a realization.
Just working here and seeing that sign all the time when I get here makes me a little bit sad. I even have Passion Comes First tattooed here on my forearm. But somehow I do feel like that it is something that I constantly forget. Quite frankly, I feel like I have very much suppressed my creativity for the last 2.5 years. I specifically told myself to not create any content so I can focus on the academy. And while the academy has a lot of purpose for me because I'm gonna help a lot of other people learn the same skills, there still is just something in me that wants to create videos, that wants to do other stuff than just scripting lessons and feedbacking lessons, you know? A little bit of a reminder right now.
For so long, I resisted the urge to create, but this time, I listened. I wasn't ready to make a full video, but at least I picked up my camera. I went on a 5-day trip to Hong Kong with my friends Max and Theo. No calls, no lessons, no obligations. Just space to explore and reconnect with the part of me I had shut away for so long. I didn't know what I was filming. No story, no concept. But maybe that was exactly the point, to capture life without any expectations and a childlike curiosity. Hong Kong felt like a different world. Towering blocks of cement cast shadows over narrow alleyways, and you could feel the heavy sorrow and regret of the past. I realized I had been carrying that same weight for years. But then came nightfall. The city lit up and the energy shifted. Crowds surged through the streets, businessmen wrapped up their final meetings, and neon lights pulsed deep into the night. It felt like a relentless rush toward a brighter future. And once again, I recognized that feeling in myself. However, Hong Kong also showed me a feeling I hadn't experienced for years. Peace. Beyond the chaos, I found temples and parks where time stood still. No one clinging to the past, no one chasing the future. Just the freedom of presence and a gentle invitation to finally let go. Hong Kong helped me reconnect with my passion. It made me experience the emotions I had buried under years of pressure and perfectionism. The joy, the grief, the wonder, the fear. All the messy, beautiful shades of being human. And in doing so, it brought me a little closer to finding my way back to myself. After Hong Kong, I moved to Thailand, clinging to the hope of a fresh start. A chance to finally find balance. For a moment, I felt like I had it. I explored the island's nature with friends, played tennis again, connected with other creatives, and even went on the occasional adventure. But just like everywhere before, it didn't last. The editing module was supposed to be the last big lift of the course, but it turned out to be the heaviest. It demanded sharper frameworks, stronger workflows, and far more lessons than any other module. So once again, the project grew heavier, pulling me back into the abyss of overwork and self-abandonment.
So often it just feels like, is it really worth it, you know? Like, is it worth all of the sacrifices that I make?
Life had been trying to teach me the same lesson over and over. First it whispered, then it raised its voice, after that it shouted, and now it screamed at me with everything it had left. I developed crippling anxiety with panic attacks almost every week. I tried to numb it with weed, and when I moved back to Bali, I kept working like a machine, disconnected from anything I felt. However, the anxiety quickly came roaring back, and this time it was stronger than ever. Each morning I sat down to work, I felt like throwing up. By midday, my chest was in so much pain, it felt like my heart was being crushed from the inside. And by night, the thoughts of ending it all came rushing back.
I just don't want to live like this much longer, you know?
I had truly reached rock bottom. In that darkness, I only had two options left. End my life, or finally learn the lesson life had been trying to teach me. I still can't explain how it happened, but in the middle of planning my own death, I stumbled across a guy named Ryan on YouTube, and it felt like he was speaking directly to me. So when I saw he offered one-on-one coaching, I knew this was my last lifeline.
My heart feels like it's just in cling wrap right now because I feel so much anxiety. I feel like I want to let go of my team because I can't handle the responsibility and the pressure anymore. Honestly, I just don't want to feel like this anymore.
There's vulnerability there too, man. You're just like, all right, I'm committing for 3 months. I don't know if this is gonna work.
Yeah.
I don't know anything, you know? And it's like, that's exactly where the divine wants an individual to be. You know, you've talked about suicidal thoughts and things like that. And anytime there's a feeling of that, that just means that there's a piece of you that wants to die. But it doesn't mean that you have to die. So there's this war essentially inside of you where your mind's constantly yelling, no, we need to work on this because we need to achieve this outcome. Because once we achieve this outcome, then I will truly be happy. But then the funny thing is that as soon as you achieve whatever that outcome is, it moves to another location. Dude, your heart is literally infinite intelligence, and it is infinite wisdom, and it is infinite love. It knows literally everything. We're gonna get the mind to a place where it starts to understand what the heart already knows. And then over time, you'll notice that the mind will start to get on board.
The pain in my heart made it clear that I had to finally listen, and that's when I started doing breath work. At first, it felt like nothing, but then all the emotions broke through at once. Everything I'd been holding back for my whole life suddenly came flooding out. All the pain, the grief, and the sadness I had never allowed myself to feel.
I just meditated for the last 30 minutes. And I don't know, it's just like some feelings came up that I've never felt before. It's not in a bad way, but in a fucking beautiful way, you know?
One thing I can definitely also remember back then was I was definitely in a depressive period. And I tried to also, like, for example, tell my dad about it. And he just kind of like always said like, why put a label of depression on it? Like, you're not depressed. Honestly, that kind of closed me up completely to my dad in terms of sharing stuff like that. There's just, just emotions that I haven't felt and they just come out,
And there's different aspects of your heart chakra that's basically opening, and that's a transformative experience, and there's going to be a lot of emotions that come to the surface.
Ever since I started working together with Ryan, it's like I've just been crying every week, almost multiple times, but it just feels good. It just feels like I'm letting go of everything that just built up over the last few years, over my whole life, kind of.
Whenever there's still shadows within you, that light that kind of comes in is purging those things. So there will be tears of sadness, grief, things that need to be released.
I kept showing up, and slowly I started to see some progress.
For the first half of today, I was feeling like shit, a lot of guilt, a lot of the old patterns.
Then I do this breathwork session, releasing a lot of stuff and feeling great for the second half of the day. When the anxiety comes, at least I know how to deal better with it than before. It has like flipped the switch where it's like, I'm not gonna go back to hating myself. I was blinded for like 2 or 3 years, thinking that, external things would maybe like make me happy. And now I'm just starting to see that with clarity again. With every session that I do, I just feel lighter and lighter and lighter. The bad feeling that I had in my heart before I started working with the coach, it just kind of like starts to slowly disappear.
Alongside breathwork, I began practicing mirror work. Each time I faced myself, more of the darkness fell away, but with it, the person I thought I was slowly died.
For 3 days or so, I felt like, what the fuck am I doing here? Like, there is no meaning in this, Because basically I just let go of parts of my identity that I was so attached to. Yeah, and then there was just like this void inside of me. It's just very scary and painful to let go of your identity, And I think that's why most people don't do it. But on the other side of that, it's just like so much more peaceful because you're not attached to it anymore, It's just, you just have to trust in it and just surrender to it. And it's crazy.
Surrender. This word kept echoing in my mind. The more I followed it, the more something opened up within me. And then one day, it happened. I felt a presence I couldn't explain. A light that felt eternal. A force greater than anything I'd ever known. In that moment, I knew I had met what people describe as God.
I don't know if it was a connection to God, because like I still feel a bit weird of talking about God because I've been atheist and so mind-driven for such a long time. But yeah, it was just like a super strong feeling of like just trust in the universe.
Dude, yes, man. Oh my God. This is it, man. This is so rare.
As I continued to have more spiritual experiences, my perception of reality slowly began to dissolve.
It feels like sometimes these moments of like pure surrender are just coming over me. It's just like your whole world of what you know and what you thought your reality was just starts to fall apart, There was a lot of sadness to realize that for 25 years of my life, I did not have that trust in life, in the universe, in God, and in myself, I always thought I have to force things into existence instead of just surrendering to whatever is meant to happen.
2 months in, I had surrendered everything I thought I knew about life. I allowed myself to do the things I once judged myself for, and in that openness, for the first time, I was able to truly fall in love with myself.
I cried because I felt so much self-love, How my feeling in my chest has shifted over the last 2 months. It's actually insane. I don't know, at some point at the end, I even just like danced on the rooftop terrace by myself for like 10 minutes. Man, I'm so fucking proud of the person I have become. And I...
Dude, you love yourself. You
started to see more and more glimpses of it, yeah.
As I kept deepening my love for myself, I had one meditation where my heart burst wide open and the suffocating pain transformed into an expansive love that poured from within me.
I'm feeling so grateful just for how my like chest feels, Just because it felt so shit for such a long time. When my heart really opened and it was just kind of like burning, I was like, wow.
I had fully reconnected with my heart, and soon life came rushing back brighter than ever. After years of numbness, I suddenly felt everything with an overwhelming intensity. I felt peace in the stillness of the trees, joy in the laughter of a child, and wonder in the sparkle of the night sky. I went on spontaneous trips, picked up my camera with fresh excitement, and slowly began to fall back in love with my life.
I'm beautiful! I'm beautiful! I'm magical! I'm magical! I love my life!
The love I had uncovered within myself reflected back in every smile, every moment, every connection. I was deeply present with the people around me, and the child I had buried for so many years began to breathe again. While only months before I wanted to leave this world behind, I now saw its beauty everywhere, and I had never been more grateful to be alive.
I know again, like, who I am, you know? I did not really know what person I was for the last 1.5 years, which is fucking crazy to say. Now it feels like I'm kind of aligned again with the person that I'm meant to be. Yeah, fuck. It's been a fucking crazy period here.
After the 3 most transformative months of my life, I had become a different person, and I couldn't wait to share that with my team.
Yeah, how's it going? All right? Good. To launching in 2025, baby.
After being separated for more than a year, it was really special to once again work alongside each other.
Anybody working here?
So Ali, you're doing a business workshop today,
Yes, today I'm gonna teach these guys how to actually make money.
Oh my god, is that Holly?
Being in the same place simply created a different energy and made the work 10 times more fun.
Have you learned something today?
Wave to the camera!
To show the boys different parts of the island, we rented a bunch of scooters and headed south. We explored beaches, met up with my other editor Paul, and checked into our villa for the weekend. As all of us had been in the trenches of creating the lessons for so long, we could finally take time to discuss larger aspects about the academy. So we further refined our customer avatar, community platform, and launch strategy. This made the vision we'd been working towards for years finally take shape, and it gave all of us a massive boost of motivation.
Yeah, we're just gonna make it happen, boys. Yeah, dude. Just gonna make it happen next year.
To thank my team for their dedication and hard work, I designed custom-made Story Hero necklaces as a token of appreciation. And now it was time to surprise them.
Maybe you just all sit down back here.
I really shouldn't be worried, boys.
You guys know it, like, it's been 2 years now since we started this project, and like you as the team just being there, being on this journey together with me and believing so much in the vision of what we're trying to achieve, that just, you know, that just fills my heart, because I've been on this path for a long time by myself, just trying to achieve this vision and put something out into the world, and just having you guys as an amazing team to just do this together is it's just mind-blowing to me. And I just wanted to thank you guys for being there for me, because I think, like, if it wasn't for you, I think we wouldn't be here anymore, or I wouldn't be here anymore. And I'm gonna be honest about this.
Yeah, you're not doing this alone anymore, man. Seriously, keep got your back.
It's crazy that all of us, you know, we're able to just align so closely to each other that we can have the hard but honest communications instead of avoiding them, and that we've just built a team where all of us can trust each other and we know that we have our backs. So I actually prepared something small for you. 1, 2, 3.
Shit! It's a Story Hero necklace. Oh,
yeah, shit. That is
God damn.
Check it out.
What?
Our time in Bali sealed our bond as a team, and it felt like what had started as work relationships slowly developed into true friendships.
Let's have a good fucking night.
While we had a lot of fun, being with my team also revealed how different it was to lead from a place of self-love instead of self-hate. I realized that every relationship was simply a mirror of myself. And now that I had faced my own shadows, I finally felt ready to step into the leader I was always meant to be.
Hey! No, it's 2025!
After rebuilding the relationship with myself and my team, the love I had reignited also began to flow into my personal life. I grew even closer to my mother and brother, I reconnected with old school friends on a deeper level, and everywhere I looked, I could see how my outer world was simply reflecting the inner work I had done over the past months. But there was still one person I felt distant from: my dad. So with the intention of rebuilding our relationship, I moved into his place in Mallorca for the next 6 months. After barely seeing each other for years, it felt really special to finally share more time together. And as you can imagine, we had a lot to talk about. From the beginning of the project, I had hidden my emotions, trying to play the tough son. But now it was time to open up.
Ready.
I told him about my depression, my suicidal thoughts, and the anxiety attacks I had battled. But I also shared the breakthroughs I'd experienced through breathwork and my first encounters with God. Deep down, I feared he might judge me, but instead, he accepted me exactly as I was.
We gave ourselves like, I think, one of the longest hugs. and then afterwards, man, I came in here to shower and bro, I just cried, man. I just cried like deeply, but not the crying of like sadness, but the crying of just so much gratitude, you know? This is everything I kind of wished for the last year, you know?
With each week, our bond grew stronger, and the time we spent together slowly grew into an unconditional love we had never shared before. For years, I had longed for moments like this, and now I finally experienced the father-son relationship I had always wished for. As my dad became curious about breathwork himself, we started practicing together every other morning. It took time for us to break through the walls we had built, but eventually, after years of holding everything inside, we dropped our facades and allowed each other to finally see what was real.
To be honest, by now, I don't know how life is shaping these experiences, you know? Like, for the last 3 years, I had such a distant relationship to my father. He was never really like, you know, really present, like, you know it when a person is really there with you. And I couldn't really feel the love for a long time in my life. And now just reconnecting with him on that level is such a special thing that makes me so incredibly grateful for the fact that he's open to do breath work with me, for the fact that he doesn't judge me for the work I do, and for the fact that we're just doing breath work together every single day at the moment. I don't know, I just can't believe how life evolves if you let go. If you let go and you don't try to control things and you're patient.
While the time with my dad filled me with love, it also brought a decade of unconscious trauma to the surface. And some of these realizations were extremely painful to accept.
I haven't felt that presence and love for so many years. And I feel like that was actually the reason for me to chase so many things in life. To chase success, to chase approval and recognition. In the end, we do all of it just to be loved. And most of it is going to be loved by our parents. It's a hard realization if you understand that you put 3 years of such hard work and so much sacrifice into something, mostly because you just want to be loved by your parents. I don't know, it was just such a special moment to be with my dad yesterday, completely present with each other, hugging each other, crying with each other, seeing him work through also like the loss of his own dad. I don't know why, but it just healed a very deep part in me.
Yeah, dude, I'm getting emotional just like hearing about it.
I know,
just
man.
Because, you know, we've been working together for a while.
Yeah.
And I just remember when you first talked about your dad and like the disconnect that you guys felt, and then just the work that you've been doing. and the courage that it gave your father, just from him seeing the change in you. You're feeling all the things, so that way, like, future generations don't have to, you know? So it's like down the line, if you have kids and your kids have kids, they're not going to struggle with the things that not only you have struggled with, but entire generations have struggled with. And it's so hard to do this work because when you're in it, you're wrestling with so much pain and things like that. But just to hear like you having this deep spiritual connection with your father now, yeah, dude, it like really hits me, man. I like feel like my heart expanding like a lot right now. So
yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Yeah, dude. I'm proud of you, buddy. I'm so proud of you, man.
I'm proud of myself and my father as well. Because the thing is, man, there's been so many moments where I thought it's not going to happen in this lifetime.
Yeah, for whatever reason, and you're the person in your family lineage who had the capacity to do this work and to feel these things, because it's not easy, man. It's like it's not easy. You know, people have no idea what they're getting into when they start doing this journey, you know.
Yeah.
Love you, man.
Love you too. I love you too, Mom.
Talk
See
to
you.
soon.
Bye.
Bye.
While I was working through everything with my dad, the academy still consumed most of my energy. My team had grown to 7 people, and with it, my expenses and responsibilities carried more weight than ever. I just do feel like my life is a bit of a chaos, you know? Like, I'm in this academy project, I'm stressed with some of my employees as they're not performing. I don't have a fixed location, I don't have much money at the moment. By now, I only had enough money left to keep the project alive for a few more months. And that pressure really started to get to me. Sometimes, you know, there's doubts coming up if I'm still the person that I used to be back then, when the world reflected all of the success back to me. It's like I've sacrificed so much in my life over those last years without seeing any external validation that I'm on the right path, you know? It's like, I know it's deep down, but sometimes there is just that self-doubt creeping in. I forced myself back into a strict work routine, but after weeks of pushing, I could feel the same misalignment from the last years coming back.
Sometimes emotions are just messengers of what we should or shouldn't be doing. It's not to shame us. It's just to be like, hey, you feel like shit because you're not doing this thing that is actually in alignment with what you truly want.
All right. Oh, fucking hell. Man, why is life so complicated lately?
You're growing, dude. This is what growing looks like. It's super frustrating.
Yeah.
Like growing, there's a reason why nobody does this shit.
Yeah.
As the money was running low, I decided to postpone the animation module to after the launch, leaving only the editing and outro modules to film. So for the last time, I blacked out my bungalow with tinfoil, gathered every drop of energy I had left, and poured it into capturing the final lessons. The closer I got to the end, the more the memories of those last years came rushing back. The first days in Bali, the motorbike accident, the months of isolation, the support from my community, the moment I wanted to end my life, the purging of my darkness, the experiences with God, the bonding with my team, the healing with my father. And now, here I was, recording the final lesson. Seeing myself on the screen, I couldn't believe how much this project had transformed me. I had started as a naive kid with an impossible dream, became a warrior who abandoned himself, and emerged as a compassionate leader who had learned to surrender to life. When I spoke my last line, all those years of pain and beauty hit me at once, because I knew that this chapter of my life was coming to an end. I love you, I appreciate you, and I will see you in the community.
This is it. I'm fucking done with the whole course. Wow, there's so many emotions coming up because I've been working on this course for the last freaking 3 years. And I just realized that it's finally done. It's finally done.
And I just feel a sense of freedom to be able to go out of my dark freaking corner and be able to do other things again in life and get back to creating videos. Oh. I'm a free man again. Can't believe it. For this weekend, we're definitely gonna celebrate a bit, because this is a big milestone.
Obviously, I couldn't celebrate alone, so I invited my team to join me.
We're certified story entries.
Following tradition, I first had to show them around the property and introduce them to all of the animals.
This is so cool.
Look at this little fluff ball.
So cute!
When I revealed that I had completed the final lesson, everybody got way too hyped and we emptied one bottle of wine after the other. And just like last time, I had a little surprise waiting for them.
Alrighty guys, I'm proud of every single one of you. I'm proud of who we have become as a team, and I wanted to give you a little present to strengthen that even more. Just gonna hand this out.
The Story Hero merchandise.
Yes! Holy shit, look at that.
I'm gonna wear these for the whole week.
Does it fit for everybody?
It actually fits really
nice,
well.
Nick.
Thank you, Nick,
Oh,
man.
this is good.
Come here.
That logo though,
Story Hero on 3. 3, 2, 1. Story Hero!
It felt surreal to have the people who walked this entire journey with me gathered in one place. And what made it even more special was that I could host them in my father's home. We made pizza together, shared dinner with my dad and his friends, and had amazing conversations late into the night. What started as a team had turned into friendships, and now it slowly began to feel like family.
Already saw a long time ago what Niklas is doing with you guys, and I think it's amazing. I believe very much in it, and I think you will make it. I'm very proud of you, and also proud of you, Niklas.
Thank you.
Cheers to Papa Cristo!
I love you all.
I couldn't help but feel proud of how close we had grown despite all the challenges. Each of us had entered this project with our own baggage, flaws, and trust issues. There were moments of frustration, times when we doubted each other, and days when the weight felt unbearable. But instead of pointing fingers, we learned to listen, face our own shadows, and lean into the hard conversations we once avoided. In the process, we discovered that beneath it all, we truly had each other's best interests at heart. We kept believing in the mission and in one another, and when you commit to that year after year, you end up with a team that is built on trust and has the power to move mountains.
There's a lot of YouTube history when it comes to these places. Do you remember that tower when I shot drone videos back then?
On this tower, I shot many of my first YouTube videos, and it's also where I came when I felt misunderstood, lost, and lonely. 5 years later, I couldn't believe I was climbing it again. This time with a team who made me feel understood, supported, and loved. It made me think back to the moment I once asked myself whether to stay a lone wolf or build something bigger than myself. There were countless times when I questioned if pursuing this academy was the right choice. But standing there with my team, I knew without a doubt it was all worth it. Not for the academy we built or the success ahead, but for the people we had become along the way. If there's one thing I've learned, it's that chasing an impossible dream will take everything you have. It will test you beyond what you thought you could handle. It will force you to look inward and face your deepest shadows. It will make you want to walk away and give it all up again and again. But if you have the courage to believe in yourself, open your heart and surrender to life, it will strip away everything you're not until all that's left is the person you were always meant to be. So if you feel that spark, follow it. But don't do it because you think the outcome will finally make you feel whole. Do it because it is true to your heart and you can't bear to leave this world without knowing who you might become.
Hey, thank you so much for sticking until the very end of this film and for your incredible patience over the past 3 years. If parts of my story resonated with you, then I just want you to know this. Whatever you're going through right now, you're not alone and there's always a way out of the darkness. In just a few weeks, we'll finally be launching Story Hero Academy and my team and I can't wait to share what we've built. Until the launch, I'll be releasing 3 special videos I captured during my time in Valencia, each one followed by a full behind-the-scenes breakdown showing exactly how it was made. In week 1, you'll see a more artistic and staged video, in week 2, a short but powerful documentary, and in week 3, a raw and personal solo experience. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of those videos, because each one will explore a different side of visual storytelling. For the upcoming launch of Story Hero Academy, we're opening the doors to only 500 founding members so we can give every person the best possible experience. I highly recommend you to join the waitlist through the first link in the description, because in the weeks leading up to the launch, I'll be sending emails with valuable updates, free lessons, and exclusive downloads. And by being on the waitlist, you'll also get early access when we open the doors. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being part of this journey. It's good to be back, and I will see you next week.